I have started the recording, so I'm recording the screen that you see here. I'm recording my audio, and I am recording the computer audio. So if you say something, it'll come up. You can ask questions either by unmuting yourself and just asking the question or writing it in the chat. I kind of look at that fairly frequently. So let's take a look and see what's up for today. It's more of the introduction, and I plan to do a demo of the week 1 submittal so I can just get right into it. And I don't know if you guys know that you can set up these Google tabs so that you can group your tabs so that you can go right to stuff. It's really kind of cool. If you've got a tab, you can right click on it and add it to a new group and give it a color and just call it whatever you want. That's how I organize my classes, and I let myself know what time I have to get on them. So you'll see all these extra tabs up here. Right now I'm doing Design 300. I may have to break off. My dogs are freaking out. There's somebody on the other side of the fence. I'll see if they calm down in a few minutes. But we'll see. All right, so here we go. Here's how we could do that. I can either do it through here. I can go to my template, and then I can go to my site, okay? Or I can do it from my modules and just go to my submittal. Either way, both ways work. So I'm going to do it from here, and I'm going to open my template, and it's going to ask me to make a copy. Now, you do need to have your Google Drive open in order for it to make a copy, because it has to have some place to put it. So I've got my Google Drive open. I can make a copy of it. And I would give it a new name. I'd put in what class this is. And you might just put your name on it too. There we go. So now I've got a new name. And this little tiny button up here, it's really hard to see. It's between the cloud and the star. If you click on that, that lets you put it in a particular place on your drive. So if you have a specific category, you can do that, or you can make a new folder. I'm just going to leave mine floating somewhere in my drive. So this first page is worth 2 points. So let me go through and do that. So it's type in the name, Schuster, and type in the W number. And here, oh, this is a link to all the stuff in the Google Drive. And so that's not applicable this week. There's nothing in your Google Drive, so you can just leave it alone. And if you're going to get this in on time, you can make it green. So if you highlight it, and there's a little paint bucket up here, you can make it green. There we go. And then you're supposed to put in your hours. Now, I happen to do 1 hour of lecture on Tuesday and Thursday, and then I have an hour set aside to do my prompts. So I'm going to put in that I'm working 4 hours, and I have actually done those. And really, what did I work on? So I didn't really work on much here, so that was just that. So I'm going to say I'm going to do my slides 1 through 15 today. That's cool. And then I'm going to say that on Sunday, I'm actually going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to get it done early. And I'm going to make my submittal. So there we go. So you'll just kind of, this is like a description of what you did and when you did it. And that's very common to timekeeping systems in the workplace. And then you're going to certify that you've participated. So if you either were at or watched the video for these things, you'll put an X in those. Even if you did it at 2 times speed. There was no simulation this week, so you just none. And there were more than 2 postings, but those were the two I asked you to do. And if you check marked your syllabus, you can do that. So that's what I can do so far. I can't do the visualizations because I don't have them yet. But that's how I get started on number 1. And that would give me 1 out of 2 points for doing that. When I come back and show my visualizations, I'll get the rest. So on my next slide, it says Canvas home site homepage. I just need a picture of my homepage. So I'll just take a snip. And I'll make sure, well, it says it right there. I'm just going to do that part of it. That's enough. That kind of shows that I was on the home page. So I just did Control-C, or you can do copy, or I can right-click and copy. Any of those work. And when I go over here, I can erase that because I don't need it. And I can again do Edit Paste, or right-click paste, or Control-V, whatever works. There it is. And I like to try to make things kind of centered. And I can, even if I want to, put a little border around it just to make it clear. It's good to have a little clear space around your work so that the eye can go to it. There, I just got a point. Woo! Piece of cake, go. That wasn't too hard, right? The Google Calendar. Well, there's my Google Calendar right there. So I can do the same thing. I can take a snip of the Google Calendar because that's what it's asking me for, and I'll do the same thing. So I'm hoping that by showing you this, you're going to go, oh my gosh, that was way easier than I was thinking of. Now look, it doesn't quite fit. And if I squeeze it in just up and down, it looks really weird. It looks like I squeezed it. So that's not very visually pleasing. You get to these corners, hold your left mouse, and I don't know how to do it on Mac, but you'll know how to do it if you're on the Mac. There we go. And that's good. And I can resize it if I want. Just a little bit. And see how the little lines, I just move it around till my little lines pop up. And then it's centered to at least something. That's good. And again, if I click on it, these little things come out. See, those go away until I click on it. And I can, and this is how bold it is. Like if I put a 12 on it, whoa, that's really big and bold. That's maybe too much. It's probably pulling my sight away from it. I just want a little something to give me my sight. Some of you, I think, are maybe interior design students, or have some better skills at making things look good than I do. I'm a mechanical engineer. For me, everything is like tic-tac-toe oriented and things like that. Just make a pleasing design, okay? And that's very subjective. If you've got a style, I'll accept your style. That's kind of cool, so long as it's easy to see. Okay, week 1 YouTube playlist. Have you seen it? Do you know where it is? Well, there it is right there. So now there's a few ways you can do this. You could do more than one thing. You could just take a copy of that playlist, and notice I'm being a little sloppy here, and I'm doing it on purpose. I got a little too much, okay? But I'm going to show you some things that you can do. One is you can highlight what the person should be looking at, or you can, I'm just using, you can do that. Now I'm going to do Control Z. Let me do Control Z. Let me get rid of that thing. Okay, so I've got that. So I'm going to put that in there. I just did Control C. And again, I like to get rid of the extra stuff. Control V. And that's cool. And I've got it in there. But see how it's kind of sloppy looking? There's a crop button up here. And I'm going to show you how to use that. So if I crop it, I can get onto that little top part. but I got to get the little arrow. If it looks like that, it's just going to move it around. So I have to get that arrow, and I'm going to get crop down, and I'm going to get it to crop up. And I think I got a little too much on this side. There. That's cool. And I can put that on there. And that's kind of cool. Got it. But now maybe I want to do just a little bit more. So I might show how I can go to the YouTube and actually see what a playlist is part of. And so I'm going to get really wild on this one. You do not have to do all this, but I'm showing you some things that you can do. And I'm just going to take it down to that one. I just did a Control C. So you can put more than one thing on here. And I'll put this around it. And I'm gonna show you now a couple of things called shapes. And arrows. I might want to have a little arrow to point, kind of like that, and then I can turn it. Welcome in, Lou. I can turn it so that I can see that that's that one, and I can make it. Isn't that cool? I can kind of thin it up, and then somebody could see that. That's what it is. And I can even make it yellow because that's sort of what I was showing up here. And that's a playlist. And I can get even more wild with it if I feel like it, where I could actually do a share. So here's my just regular share. And when I click on it, these links show up. Click. There we go. Now, if somebody selects it, they actually go to it. So these are just kind of cool things. Is this all required? Absolutely not. This is full credit right here. Something like this is full credit. Or this is kind of full credit. You just want to show that you got an idea of how to get to the YouTube playlists. Okay? But I'm just trying to show kind of how you can do some things to be a little bit more if you feel like it. Well, that's 2 points. Let's see what the discussion board. So it's my discussion board. So there's 2 ways that you can show your discussion board, right? According to that, I could just take a snip of this and put it in there, and maybe I'll do that. Control C. Right click paste. That's it. So that's kind of cool. But now I'll do even more again by actually going to the discussion board and showing one of the ones that I did. And let me see. Did I do one of these? I'm not sure I'm not sure I actually put. I don't think I put my introduction in here. So you could put these things in there, or if you wanted to.
Hello, my name is Elijah Rojas, and
you can actually put your own in there. You can kind of take a snip and maybe put a link to yours in there if you've got a link to it. So those are some things you could do. I do have an introduction that I did, but it was in, where is my introduction? My introduction is on my home page. So I could put my introduction video in there.
Grammarly can help you write quickly and confidently, so you never have to slow down at work.
Hi, folks. Let me introduce.
So I'm just amazed that YouTube is monetizing my stuff. And see that I didn't do a very good job there, so let me get a better snip. And put it in here. So I'm doing a little extra work. So as this one would be, as an example, the introduce yourself. If you have other ones that you want to put in here, that's cool. And again, I can put a little arrow in there to show that that one was me introducing myself. And I could, if I had a link to it, which I do somewhere, there it is, put a link in there. So this is extra, 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 extra. It all depends on how much time you've got in your life to be able to do this kind of stuff. Again, this is full credit. If you just post this in here, that is full credit right there. This is more. And it's always, if you have the opportunity to start learning how to do good presentations, that's cool. I like to give it, I think I did a what's up with all that work in my playlist of welcome. So you'll know that the workplace expects lots of work. But I also understand that many of you, most of you, or even all of you have lots and lots of responsibilities and things to do in your life, and that this may not be the time for you to develop this ability. But you can try a couple of them if you feel like it. Or some of you, I do know, are already really good at it. We have some people, I'm not sure in this class, but in my classes, that actually have degrees in design and media and graphic arts already. And so you might be able to do some of that. Okay, so there we go. And I'm only 20 minutes in, so I'm taking some extra time. Professionalism. Now I got to think, where was that professionalism thing? Professionalism. Let me think back. I don't remember. So let me go to the modules and see if there was one in here about professionalism, getting started with No, I don't see it in there. I think it was in the syllabus. I think there was a slide in the syllabus. So I got to click a little bit to get to the professionalism. This one I'm going to make you work on a bit. Click. Oh, there it is. There's professionalism. So now there's a bunch of ways that you could go about showing that you've been to this page and that you've done it. Okay, you might just take a snip of this page from the syllabus. You might make it green before you do that. You might go, hey, I've been there. And then take a snip. Now, if you don't have the snipping tool or don't know how to get these copies, that's some tech tips, and you just have to ask me for resources to learn how to do that. So I'm going to Control C, come back here and Control V, and there we go. And I'm going to put a little thing around it again. And then I'm so impressed with my own stuff that I'm going to put a link to that in there. So let me make a, and unfortunately, Google Slides does not have the embed function in it. There are ways that you can do it if you know how to do embedding, but something like this is just fine. And you can even, I know you've read it. That's cool. So you can do it like that, and then you can get a link. Click. Here's the little link button. There we go. Got it. And I do like to let people know what these things are. So in this case, it's kind of obvious, so I can just put some arrows in. This tiny little diamond here makes it thick or thin. And paint it with a highlight color. And that one probably needs a little border around it. There we go. And then the last part is just making each one of these green. And I'm making the the judgment that you've read that before you make it green. If not, you are certifying that you've read it. So that would be a false certification if later on we find out that you haven't read it. You do something, you go, oh, I didn't know, and then we look back and you go, well hold on a sec. How did you not know it? You told me that you knew. So this is my way of doing that. So I don't think this is too much work to get you guys started off. I know all that reading and everything was a lot of work, but this is a college class that is some work. So there we go. So there it is. That is how to make it. Oh, now I need some visualizations. So this is just sort of some graphic. I'm just copying and pasting some stuff. And you just to kind of put them all on one spot. And you don't have to put everything up here. And sometimes things fit well and sometimes they don't. And this one, I think I'm going to put that one up there. This one I'm going to make a little bit bigger. So there's a layout concept. And please leave a little room around the sides. There's a little bit of a concept layout that you have that you break things up. Sort of like 2/3, 1/3. And then things if they're... And as a mechanical engineer, I go, no. But I'm just kind of getting stuff and then this one, I think I'm going to go to my actual syllabus page itself because that's kind of a wider look. And just to show kind of what's going on. I can get these two kind of the same-ish. See how it's making little marks down below it to say it's the same width? There we go. And if I can just find one more thing kind of that size, that would be kind of cool. So, I don't think I put this one on yet, right? So that's playing around with the layout just a little bit, just to see if I can make things look kind of semi reasonable. These might need to squeeze down just a little bit to match some heights. There we go. So that's not too bad of a look. I can get this one a little bit bigger. There we go. If I want to, I can even crop this so that I can get some size even a little better. This is not required. All this extra little stuff I'm doing here is not really required, but now I have a pretty visually pleasing set of look. Yeah, Siobhan, go ahead. Please ask a question or make a comment.
Thank you. I just have a question about the deliverable column
Yes.
where it says list the slide number. I guess I'm just unclear of what this column is.
So when you work on one of these slides, so these if you look, this is slide number 1, slide number 2, slide number 3, and this week it's really easy, but in future weeks you can't do the whole thing all at once. Maybe you can. Maybe you will be able to. But it's sort of like, okay, you know, what these are things that you're delivering, either activities or slide presentations. And so when you work on one, you would list it down for that day. Now, yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah. And this is really common especially in gig work, where, you know, somebody's paying you to get stuff done and it's phased, where you have little bits and pieces of it to do and you don't want to wait till the very end to get done. So they break it up into deliverables, and each time you deliver one, they'll Venmo you or Cash App you or send you a check. And so it's really important to be able to start identifying what's a deliverable. So thank you. That's a really good question. And it comes up a lot. And that's part of our, you know, getting you ready to start doing things in a working environment. So for this class, deliverables will almost always be working on one slide or another. So there we go. Okay, so that was good. Thank you for that. So the next thing is I'm going to go to the page where it tells me to submit it. So I just did my template. I made a copy and I fixed it all up. And so now I'm ready to submit. Click. I already did that. So I'm ready to submit. When I am ready to submit. So the first thing is download it as a PDF. And the reason for that is that my markup tool in Canvas works best with a PDF. So I'm going to ask you to do it as a PDF. And it's easy to do. So here it is. To get it as a PDF, there's a few ways, but the easiest is to go to File, Download, PDF. You don't have to have PDF loaded on your machine or anything. It just does that. And then depending on your browser, I'm in Chrome, so it shows up on my download bar. Here in Firefox, I think there's a little download folder up here. And if you're on a Mac, kind of the same thing. If you're on, so it depends on what you're doing, but I'm going to demonstrate it. I'm on Chrome, so it showed up down here. So when I go to my when I go to my submittal, I have to go into the student view to show you how to do this. There will be a button that says start the assignment. So I'll do that. Click. And then I'm going to upload a file. Click. And then choose a file. Well, if I've got it here, and if I hover over choose a file, it'll put it in there. Otherwise, you can click on it and go find it in downloads. And then it asks me to do something else. It asks me to certify that that was my own work and to just fill out how things went. So I'm going to copy that. I did a right click and come to this little comments box. And I can make it bigger. Yeah, I just hover over it with the mouse and I'll Control V paste. And I'll say, okay, I'll put my name in here. Randy Schuster, certify that it's my own work, true presentation of my skill and my ability. Yeah, this week, technology and access was not a difficulty. I was fine. If it was, say it was. Okay, that's how we can figure out how to get you better help, or that you need more time, or that, wow, you really battled through some tough stuff. Way good for you. And if it was not a difficulty, it probably did not slow you down. But if it was a difficulty, we want to know if it did or did not slow you down. Spending adequate time for this class was not a difficulty. Now, it is important. If you needed help, I want to know whether you were able to get it or not. That's key to me as a professor in making sure that my class meets our mission goal of student first. So maybe it was, or maybe it was not. You can also change this to, when I needed help, it was not applicable. Maybe you just didn't even need help. You can change that. And then, look, there are lots of other things that can get in your way, and maybe they did or did not. You don't have to tell me what they were. I just want to know if they were there. Okay, so maybe I'll say other factors did not. And oops, I didn't get everything. Quantity. And maybe that was all cool. Maybe you did learn everything. Maybe you felt really good. No, I learned everything, but I just didn't have time to do all the little click, 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 click. And so these two can have different answers. And so I'm going to say again that they did not. Here we go. Submit. Bank. You get to turn this on or off. Personally, I can't stand the little sprinklies, but some people like it because it lets them really know it got in there. That was really good. Now, another thing to know is you can always come back and get a copy of what you submitted. There it is. I just downloaded what I submitted. And I believe that if you go to grades, it will also, if you click on it, it'll go there. Okay, so I'm not click different. Okay, so I think you just click there, and it lets you go to what you actually submitted. And if you need to, you can resubmit. So if you do something and then later on you go, oh, I really wanted to do more, I will check the last one that you submitted. You can also, if you want to, place a comment in there. You can record yourself and say, look, Prof, this is way too much work. Will you ease up? Or something like that if you don't want to write it down. That's perfectly fine. So that's how to kind of get through things and figure out what's going on and all that kind of cool stuff. That's what I was hoping to accomplish. Oh, and let's just do one more time and look at the rubric. So right now, I'm going to do two things. I'm going to split my screen in half. So I've made that, and I hold my window key and the arrow, and I get that one over there. And I do the same thing here. Now they're side by side, and I can look at my submittal and see how I did. Now, I can't show you how I'll grade it because I don't really have a good markup tool, but I'll kind of do it. I'll do a scribble, and I think I can make my scribble a certain color. It's a little bit harder in here than it is in the other ones, but let's see. Technical content, there wasn't any technical content on this page. Visual clarity and layout. I think I got it green, green, green. My layout looks good. Professionalism, annotations are on there. Did I really need any on this page? Not really. This one's pretty clear. Although I could, if I wanted to, add a little bit more, but I'll give myself full on that one. And is it complete? I got something from just about every segment. So that one would get a little green scribble. So you would find a little green check mark on it from me in the grading. But this is how you go through this. And sometimes these don't make, they're not, I didn't really give you anything to do on a lot of these ones. So almost everything on this one is going to be on complete and some sort of nice layout. Let's look at this one. Technical content. It wasn't really applicable. Visual clarity, yeah. I've got a nice layout. It shows the Canvas homepage. Very clearly identifies that I was there. I don't really need annotations. However, it would maybe be nice if I had redlined this. So I would give you full credit and maybe say, draw attention to this. And maybe label it as the home page. But this one is not too much. You'd get full credit for that. But do you see how you'll go through each one of these for yourself to make sure that you're going to have a really nice score? This is there for you to go through. And then when you see my markups, you're just going to see a mark of a certain color that will match this. So as an example, I could make let's see if I've got check marks in here anywhere. I could just put a big X on it and make that X a certain color. And I'll say green. There you go. You got a green check mark. And that would mean that you got the full points. But if you saw the check mark look like that, you'd know I gave you half credit. And if you saw the check mark that looks like that, you'd go, whoa, I didn't get any credit for this page. What's up? And you could write to me in any number of ways. You could send me an email. You could DM me. You could, in your grades, you could write a comment up with the red mark. I thought I did a very good job. Please let me know how to do better. Then I could save that. And then it would be good if that had a question mark. And if it said, what's up with the red mark on page something? I thought I did a very good job. Please let me know. So this is your question. This clarifies what your question is. And this is asking for a certain response. So that's professional. This isn't, it would be more professional if you spelled right. But I get it. Everybody's typing and doing their stuff. All right. So that's my presentation for today. I guarantee you that starting next week, we're going to take up, the full 50 to 55 minutes of the class. But that's what I've got for you today. I'll open it up. Do you have any more comments or questions or things that will help the rest of the students and yourself do an excellent job on your submittal this week? Okay, well then thank you for attending. I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now.